there are growing rumors that Xi Jinping's mother has passed away. Beijing remains silent. Meanwhile, Xi's wife hasn't been seen in over 40 days. Today, we take you inside the eye of the storm surrounding the Xi family. Welcome back to Final War with Katherine Hu. According to insiders familiar with the situation, Xi Jinping's mother, Qi Xin, has passed away. But the exact date? Unknown. And tellingly, the Xi family has opted for a low-profile approach. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has made no official announcement. If true, this news adds a deeply emotional undertone to the already intense political struggles playing out at the highest levels of the CCP. Reportedly, Qi Xin had been living in Xinglin Shanzhuang, near the Xiangshan Botanical Garden in Beijing, alongside other elderly CCP officials. So within those inner circles, word of her death is already known. According to Baidu, Xinglin Shanzhuang is managed by the Western Service Bureau of China's State Organs Affairs Administration, formerly the Wanshushan Sanatorium, built in the 1960s to accommodate retired senior CCP officials. It's worth noting this isn't the first time we've heard rumors about Qi Xin's passing. Back in late 2022, during the sudden lifting of COVID restrictions, many speculated she died from the virus at Beijing's 301 hospital. The official press quickly countered with a story showing Guangdong Party Secretary Huang Kunming visiting a group of retired officials, including Qi Xin. In 2023, to mark what would have been Xi Zhongxun's 110th birthday, the 97-year-old Qi Xin made a rare appearance in a documentary. She spoke about Xi Zhongxun's life and old family photos, including several with Xi Jinping and Peng Liyuan, were shown. But this time, silence. No rebuttals. No confirmation. Nothing. Qi Xin, born in 1926, would be 99 this year, 100 years old by the traditional Chinese method of counting age, an age considered honorable. Even if she did pass, it would typically be treated as a moment of public remembrance. So why the secrecy? Xi is in the most precarious and sensitive moment of his leadership. Eyes are on him both at home and abroad. The quiet handling of his mother's death likely stems from one key issue: the funeral's protocol. Normally, for someone of Xi's standing, even a relative's funeral would be held at the prestigious Babaoshan Revolutionary Cemetery. It would require floral tributes and possibly attendance from current Politburo Standing Committee members and CCP elders. It would also be paid for by the central government. Such a funeral would signal Xi's continued dominance. But the fact that this isn't happening, that silence, it may well indicate he's lost that grip on power. Here's the reality: Xi no longer qualifies for such high-level privileges. While he can still put on a public face, what comes after he steps down or is pushed out is deeply uncertain, especially with the growing speculation around the untimely death of Li Keqiang. Many see that case as laying the groundwork to investigate Xi, and if prison, specifically the notorious Qincheng prison for political detainees, is what awaits him, then what kind of funeral should be arranged for his mother? No one wants to answer that, not yet. So the current solution: delay everything, say nothing, wait until the political fog clears. We're also seeing mixed signals about Xi's actual status. Sometimes he's front and center, other times he's a ghost. One moment, state media announces he'll oversee the September 3rd military parade. The next, reports say he'll skip the July BRICS summit. This back and forth, it's strategic. It's meant to control public opinion, to ease people toward the eventual truth, without sparking mass shock or resistance. According to reports from Chinese state media, one particularly sentimental photograph sits on Xi Jinping's bookshelf. It shows a rare moment of warmth, Xi holding his mother Qi Xin's hand, as the two stroll together through a park. But behind that peaceful image lies a very different story. Under the CCP system, rooted in class struggle and ideological persecution, family bonds are often sacrificed to political loyalty. And Xi's relationship with his mother, like many others shaped by the party's brutal legacy, was marked by pain, secrecy, and survival. One man, Yang Ping, a longtime friend of Xi's father, Xi Zhongxun, once wrote a revealing article in Hong Kong's Singpao Daily. He described the traumatic ordeals the Xi family endured during the Cultural Revolution. Xi Jinping was only 13 when the movement began. His father was already undergoing reform through labor at a machinery plant in Luoyang. As a schoolboy, Xi made a few comments opposing the Cultural Revolution, and that was enough to label him a current counter-revolutionary. He was imprisoned inside the courtyard of the Central Party School in Beijing. One day, the school held a public denunciation rally. 6 accused capitalist roaders were marched onto the stage. The first 5 were adults. The 6th, a teenage Xi Jinping, forced to wear an iron dunce cap so heavy he had to hold it up with both hands. In the audience that day sat his mother, Qi Xin. When the crowd was ordered to chant, "Down with Xi Jinping," she too was forced to raise her hand and join in. They were just feet apart, but mother and son could not exchange a word. Then came a moment that would haunt Qi Xin forever. One stormy night, Xi escaped through a window and ran home in the rain. He was cold, soaked, and starving. "Mom, I'm hungry," he said, trembling. She panicked, told him to change clothes, said nothing, and quietly slipped out into the rain. Unbeknownst to her son, she had gone to report him to the authorities. It wasn't out of cruelty, it was desperation. Harboring a known counter-revolutionary, even if it was your own son, was enough to get the entire family arrested. She had 2 younger children to think about. When she realized what had happened, he was crushed. According to Yang's account, he cried helplessly in front of his siblings, then ran back out into the rainy night. Eventually, a construction worker near the summer palace took pity on him, offering him a hard bench to sleep on. By morning, she was caught and sent to juvenile detention for further reform through labor. The Cultural Revolution eventually passed. The family was rehabilitated, but the scars ran deep. Qi Xin, for her part, never stopped trying to help her son's political career. In 1980, when she served as a county party secretary in Hebei, she wrote to the provincial party chief, Gao Yang, asking him to look after her son. Years later, when Xi's career in Fujian had stalled, she reached out again, this time to party secretary Jia Qinglin. Only then did Xi's fortunes begin to rise. Xi's wife, Peng Liyuan, has been missing from public view for over 40 days, sparking wild speculation online. Everything from house arrest to worse. Her last known appearance was on May 13th, when she joined Brazilian First Lady Rosângela Lula da Silva for a visit to Beijing's National Center for the Performing Arts. Since then, radio silence. She hasn't accompanied Xi on any recent trips to Southeast Asia, Russia, or Central Asia. However, a Belarusian official recently dropped a hint. Deputy Prime Minister Nikolai Snopkov mentioned that during a private dinner with Belarusian President Lukashenko, both Xi's daughter and Peng were present. Snopkov even quoted Xi as saying, "My friend, our relationship is special, so today we'll have a family dinner. For the first time in history, my daughter will dine with a foreign leader." Analysts say this strange arrangement suggests Xi may no longer be fully in charge of formal foreign policy. His daughter's presence at such an event may also imply the family is losing its official status. In early June, Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang led a heavily armed military patrol for 12 hours through Beijing's 6th Ring Road. The message was loud and clear. The military is under new management. Reportedly, Xi has now submitted a will to the Politburo. In it, he makes two key requests. 1. Treat the Xi family kindly. He writes that it wasn't easy for the Xi family to recover and pleads to avoid a political purge. 2. Encourage young people to remain patriotic, declaring that even if the Xi family is destroyed, we will always love our country. It's clear, Xi understands the ruthless nature of the system he once led. His greatest fear now is that his downfall will bring disaster to his family. By 2025, the Chinese communist regime stands on the brink of collapse. General Zhang Yuxia's tightening grip over the military, the unexplained deaths of multiple senior officers, growing pressure from party elders to force a leadership change, Xi Jinping's worsening health, and the secretive handling of his mother's death. All of these form the backdrop to an increasingly chaotic and opaque transfer of power. And yet, Xi remains unwilling to face reality. Yet the tragedy is this: Xi still doesn't seem to grasp that the only path to save his family, the only way out of this political hurricane, is to walk away from the brutal communist system he helped perpetuate. Get the real story behind the CCP's shifting power games and see where US-China relations are headed next. Support the vision of a new China without communism. Subscribe now and join us in bringing the truth to light.